6:30 in the morning and it already feels like it's 90 degrees outside. Just take a look at that. Acapulco Bay. Isn't that beautiful? How the mountains just tumble right down to the sea. They say it's sunny here 360 days of the year. Some people call it the Miami of Mexico. Well, like Miami, it's kind of like a steam bath. But you know, it's a pretty cool place to hang out. Well, if you know where to look for what's cool. I think I know where to start. In a place like this, you've got the intense heat and humidity. Then on the other hand, you've got this luscious, refreshing, tropical fruit all year round. No better combination than what I got right here in my hand. Now this is what they call a honey Manila mango. Sometimes we call it an ataulfo here in Mexico. Cross between the classic Manila mango and a round one they call paraíso or petacon here. Sometimes we'll call it a heyday. That looks like it's going to be refreshing. Give it a simple turn inside out and then a good drizzle of lime. Looks good. Sort of reaches right up there to quench your thirst. Thirst quenched. Let's hit Acapulco. Boy, that's idyllic looking, isn't it? It's the old Bay of Acapulco. Looks sort of like a sleepy village in the French Riviera. 250 years, starting beginning of the 1500s, this was a major trading center in the world. The Spaniards, they'd made their way down here from Mexico City in 1521 and discovered the little bay. They knew right away that it had a lot of potential for trade with the East. I mean, it's a really deep harbor, twice as deep as San Francisco Bay, twice as deep as New York Harbor. And they were going to trade with these huge boats, these vessels they called galleons. They knew they'd fit really beautifully into this harbor, so they quickly set up all their facility to build those ships. Well, and they built this fort too to protect all the cargo coming in. Galleons were really stout, broad. They were like the container ships of the day. All about hull, making them very stable in the water. Of course, they were very heavily armed too. They were filled with all kinds of very expensive cargo. Cargo like the stuff that Francis Drake wanted to get at. We called him an admiral here. They called him a pirata. Now that ship, that model there is the way that they built these ships. They didn't really have blueprints. They built an exact scale model and then would build from that. There'd be 150 men that would be on one of those voyages from here to Manila. And this is the kind of stuff that you'd have found in that hull. See that massive chest? It's got 3 locks on it, very secure, filled with all kinds of porcelain and these gorgeous silks from Asia. Well, and look down here. This is like what it would have looked like in the hull. See this beautiful hand-painted Asian porcelain, celadon? But the real treasure, well, that would have been in these bags, these sacks, these crocks, the spices. You know, the ultimate destination for all this stuff wasn't really Mexico. I mean, a lot of it stayed here, of course, but it was really Spain. They'd land the stuff in Acapulco, take it by land all the way over the mountains to Veracruz and send it on another ship to Spain. That's the moment at which Mexico became such an important player in world trade, because all of those Asian goods came here, and it was something that wasn't managed by the Spanish crown, but was managed by Mexico itself. Now, there were 2 hubs. You got to think of it this way. There was the Manila hub, where they gathered all that stuff from Asia and put it on the galleons and sent it over to Acapulco. And then there was the Acapulco hub. When the big ships would land here, they would have these huge fairs. They would go on like for a month or more, where people would come from all over Mexico to trade and then ship the stuff back to Spain. Now, all that's important, sure, but you know, in this kind of a room, this is where something even more important happened, at least in my way of thinking. This is the kitchen, or at least a recreation of what the fort kitchen would have looked like. Now, a lot of things that we think of as integral to Mexican cooking weren't even here. So in a place like this, the first, or at least one of the great fusion cuisines got started. I mean, think about things like cinnamon, indispensable in Mexican cooking. That came in and was integrated into the cuisine in a place like this because it came from Asia. Mangoes, Manila mangoes, they even have the name Manila hooked onto them. Mexico's favorite mango. Limes, rice, all these integral ingredients to current day Mexican cooking were all brought in and worked into the cuisine in a place just like this. But think about Asian cuisine too. You know, it didn't have everything that it has now, so there was some trade both ways, some fusion both ways. Think about Szechuan food and Thai food and Indian food. We love them because they're wonderfully spicy. Spicy from chilies that were native here to the New World. Back in the 1920s, two things happened that really gave Acapulco a shot in the arm. I mean, one of them was that Cortez's old mule trail from Mexico City down to Acapulco was finally paved so people could actually get here. The other thing was that they put in a little airport. So people like the Prince of Wales started showing up here, and he went back and told his own old cronies, and they started coming too. And then in the 30s, there was this Texas businessman, Albert Pullen, and he started Old Acapulco, the first hotel zone here. Well, that thing really took off. He became a billionaire, and then writers started showing up, screenwriters, some of the starlets. I mean, Tennessee Williams set Night of the Iguana here, really putting it on the map. Now just take a look at Acapulco's cathedral. It doesn't look like any church really that you see in Mexico. Now, I read in a book that this place started off as a movie theater. If it's true, well, what does that tell you about the connection between Hollywood and Acapulco? This place became so cool. And the Villa Vera, where I am right now, what was the quintessence of cool? Well, what could be cooler than a swim-up bar? This was the very first one ever built. No, it didn't come from Cancun. They also have another thing that's really cool that they invented here too, and that's the specialty of the house, the banana daiquiri. Señor, por favor. Voy a querer un daiquiri de plata. First thing that he does is to peel a banana, put half of it into a blender with a big scoop of ice. Then in goes sugar, some orange juice, and a good shot of white rum. Everything gets blended up into a frothy smoothness. Muchas gracias. Back in the 50s, this guy named Teddy Stouffer, well, he was a co-founder of the Villa Vera. You might have heard of him because, well, they called him Mr. Acapulco. Perfect name. He's the guy that started the cliff divers down at La Quebrada. Well, he started off just as a little hideaway, a little guest house for the rich and the famous. But eventually it sort of became like a little boutique hotel. but a boutique hotel for the beautiful people. I mean, this is the place where Elizabeth Taylor married Mike Todd, just right up there in one of the villas. JFK stayed here. Julio Iglesias lives just right around the corner. Elvis even stayed here. Staying cool should always be this much fun. Well, you can't live by daiquiris alone. At least I can't. When I'm really hot and I've got a hankering for something, shrimp cocktail always sounds good. In a little beachside restaurant here in Mexico, the typical way to serve it is sort of a do-it-yourself affair. They'll serve you a great big old ice cream glass full of shrimp, fresh shrimp. It'll be doused with some lime juice usually when it comes to the table, and then they've got all these different condiments to add to it, ketchup and hot sauces and Worcestershire sauce. Usually start by giving it a good douse of ketchup. Hot sauce. There's all different kinds of flavors that you can add in the hot sauce category. Smoky chipotle is delicious with shrimp. Then there's the fresh chopped onions and cilantro. That'll give it a nice, refreshing character. Some avocado, creamy richness. And then just stir the whole thing up and you're ready to enjoy a refreshing Mexican-style shrimp cocktail. Boy, my mouth's watering. Can't wait to have a bite of that. I don't think we need an excuse to stop every hour or two here in Acapulco to get a little refreshment. I told Lanie that I'd meet her about right now here at the Raspados store.
I love raspados.
Oh, there you are. I love raspados too, and I could really use one. Why don't we go check it out? What they've got here is 3 different categories of different syrups. Now let's start back at the beginning, because raspados like shaved ice, like snow cones, that kind of thing. But here they have the most delicious toppings to put on it. A lot of them made with natural fruit syrups. Like, well, the ones on the far left, those are the concentrated ones, root beer and all that kind of stuff. The middle one's the one I concentrate on because it's the natural fruit syrups that they make here almost every day. What are you thinking, Lane?
Strawberry.
Strawberry? I was thinking, well, I can't decide whether I want to get mango or guayaba. Could we possibly? Would you like to have 2? If I get 2, would you like to have 2?
Sure.
What would you choose for your second one?
Lime.
Lime? Okay. Señorita, por favor, vamos a querer 4 de fresa, de limón, de mango y de guayaba. It's a little bit like a crushed up fruit pop, or maybe like a granita. An Italian granita with some fruit syrup poured over the top of it. Gracias. There. Okay. You know, making raspados at home is really something too involved for me. I don't have an ice crusher to begin with, but making fruit pops, well, that's something that's a great summer treat when it's hot weather outside. We're making a couple of different varieties, some strawberry and some kiwi. The kiwis you just have to peel, and once you've got a whole bunch of them together, make a puree out of them. Now, I don't really like those watery fruit pops, so I make mine with a solid fruit puree that I just sweeten, give a little acid to, and freeze. Now I pour the puree into a glass measuring cup because that allows me to give it its final flavorings. I'm using superfine sugar. Now that's the stuff that is easiest to dissolve into a thick puree like this. Put in as much as you think it needs. A little high seasoning is what you need for ice pops because the cold when they're frozen is a little dulling to flavors. Using my handy Mexican lime squeezer to crush that lime half into there. And then I'm going to stir the whole thing together and we'll give it a little taste here. Of course, seasonings are really up to you. Lanie, tell me what you think about the seasonings on this. Let me see.
I gotta try it to see.
Absolutely. I think it came out good.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit more lime?
No, I think it's good.
You think it's good? Okay, we'll go with that. Now, we're going to use a ice pop mold, filling it about to the top. And then the top of the mold goes on. And Lanie, will you help me put the sticks in here? We just drop one in each one. Then, several hours in the freezer is what it'll take to freeze these firm, and you've got a delicious treat. About 3 hours or so in the freezer. Things are all firmed and ready to go. I'm turning out pretty good.
Yeah, they're better than the ones you get from the paleta vendors inside.
The paleta, the Mexican fruit
Yeah.
pop vendor out front. Better than the good humor, too, huh? Oh, and you know, they've got the coolest thing here. Señor, por favor, ¿usted tiene chamoy?
Sí, cómo no.
¿El preparado? Ah, muy bien, chamoycano. Sí, por favor, voy a querer un poquito. It's this stuff, well, the base of it is apricot, like an apricot pulp of all things, and then they add red chili and lime. Just watch, just gonna pour it on the top of it here. Oh, muy bien. That stuff is sweet and hot and tangy because they put lime juice in it. All these wonderfully exotic things. I don't think they would make that anywhere but here in Mexico. Hey, Lanie, guess what?
What?
I saw a Tepos Nieves right next door.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hola, buenas tardes. Tenemos que decidir. Now, this is Tepos Nieves. Tepo for, well, Tepoztlan, the place that the first one of these really cool ice cream shops came from. And the Nieves, well, that normally means snow. You would think ices, but in Mexico here, they use it for ices or ice creams, and this place is like the best. This is Ice Cream Mecca. This is what they're really known for. They call this place the ice creams of the gods, and they've got these fabulous combinations, things like mamey fruit with pine nuts and strawberries, or how about this one, 1,000 flowers that has tuberoses and gardenias and white chocolate. Lanie, have you decided what you're gonna have?
I think so.
Okay, tell me what you're gonna have.
I'm gonna have the cajeta,
Yes,
the coco, the choco nuez,
choco nuez.
and tres leches.
4 things you're gonna have? I just have to interrupt and show you how to make a really good choco nuez ice cream. It's made with Mexican chocolate, so that's where you start. Chop up some of that Mexican chocolate and then put it into food processor, along with some toasted nuts. I'm only putting half of them in at this stage. The rest I'll chop up and add to the finished ice cream. Put the top on that and make as fine a powder as you can get. Okay, that mixture goes into the saucepan. And I'm going to add to that some melting chocolate. That gives this beautiful texture. I like bittersweet, but you could choose your favorite melting chocolate to go in there. A little bit of Mexican cinnamon, fresh ground, and a whole quart of half and half. Let this chocolate half and half nut mixture come to a very gentle simmer. Then separately beat some egg yolks with sugar. Then ladle a little of that chocolate half and half mixture in. This protects the yolks. It warms them up slowly. Then return that yolk mixture to the chocolate mixture in the pan and whisk it for several minutes until it becomes noticeably thicker, but it should never boil. Then take it off the fire and let it cool completely. Well, we're ready to freeze the ice cream. Now I'm going to use one of these new style frozen bowl ice cream makers. You know, it's sort of like they've got ice packs all the way around. Put it into the freezer and leave it overnight and it'll be ready to freeze the ice cream. Another little tip. If you want the smoothest textured ice cream, always chill the base for several hours till it's thoroughly chilled. Now to set this gizmo up, this doesn't require any ice or salt. I'm going to put the little paddle in here, like this. Get these little lines set up here. And then pop this in, and we'll turn it on and pour in the base. After about 45 minutes, should be the consistency of soft serve ice cream. Scrape it out into a freezer container. Stir in the remainder of those chopped nuts. You'll want to crush them up. Then let it ripen or firm up in the refrigerator for several hours before you're ready to serve. Our moment is right at hand. Choco Nuece ice cream. How about a little bit of chocolate sauce on it?
Sure.
Okay. Ooh. I think I want a little too.
Okay.
Now, how about a few nuts over the top of it?
Sure, fine with me. Looks so good.
Okay, dig in. Okay, well, if she can have 4, then I can have 4 too. Okay, I'm gonna go back for that fig with mezcal. I think I want to have the jicama with chili ice cream. Can you believe that? I've never had it before, but it's gonna be great, I'm sure. How about Cinderella's kiss? That's all kinds of things that sound like they add up to cheesecake with a little bit of strawberry jam on the top of it. And here's one. This Nieve de Chicun, one of the Aztec gods. Banana with little bits of chocolate. Boy, are we gonna have a feast. Okay, I want a little taste of that cajeta. Lanie, no dinner for you till you finish your dessert. I think we are breaking all of the rules here. Oh, this is really good. Okay, so maybe Acapulco came to its high point back in the 50s and 60s. Some people say it's really making a comeback. I don't know. For me, Acapulco never really lost its cool. Okay, here, taste this one. This is the one, Cinderella's kiss. What do you think? I want to taste some of your limon.
Go ahead. That was good.
That's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's that one?